when he was in the army, where his mate shot Saddam Hussein, him and his mate flew a Harrier jump jet through a McDonald's drive-through.
Explain my headwear.
Start with the headwear, yeah, I reckon, because for people who can't see it, if you're listening, Tony's wearing a beret.
That's a lovely,
unironically
accessory
as well. It's not like he's wearing it.
Well, we've got some French shirts in the background.
We have
Marseille and a Lyon.
Yeah, we have, to be fair.
Wiz Khalifa Airways.
And Mount Everest poker.
Well, I just thought, I'd add a bit of style to the podcast.
It's what we've been lacking, amongst other things.
So Jeremy Beadle's hand.
So, yeah, this is take 2. We started recording this about 6 minutes, 22 seconds ago, and Tony hadn't actually started recording on the video. So, how did we get onto Jeremy Beadle? We were talking about Star Trek.
Star Trek.
You were talking about wearing
your
headphones like that. So
the headband that I used to pretend the guy with looked like some sort of comb in front of his eyes.
Mad shades.
Then there's like
then that went into how do we get onto
the guy that did the mysteries?
Oh, the mysteries guy who
was like second in command on the Starship.
He had like a beard
Enterprise.
and a curly hair, and
second.
My words were, he's got a Jeremy Beadle head.
Yeah, and basically
he's the first person I could think of with a beard and head. And hair.
Yeah, it's like Stars in the Rise when it was like, you've got a lot in common with that singer. It was like, yeah, we've both got a head.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
and so with Jeremy Beadle, I never knew until I was in my 20s that he had a little hand. I was about to say that I had a little hand.
You didn't notice.
Yeah.
It's like, God, that hand's so much further away than this one.
Yeah.
But what did you think? He had a warped TV or something?
Yeah, and then we got onto Beadle's About.
Beadle's About, yeah, with the aliens.
Yeah, and I was on about the sausage.
That was it, the sausage factory.
So basically, I remember a guy that was doing a trial at a sausage factory or something. And obviously sausage has like...
When you say trial, like, you mean for a job?
Like practicing making sausages.
Like he's being employed.
I think so, yeah.
He wasn't on trial for crimes against...
And the court case was in a sausage factory.
The court case in a crimes against...
sausages.
Yeah, bacon and pork products.
And you know how like the meat goes into like the skin? That was weird.
Do it again. I don't know what you mean unless you show me.
The meat goes into
the skin.
Yeah.
I've heard of meat going into skin, yeah.
And so like I was about to do it again. So the meat was going into the skin, and like, do you know how like sausages are twisted at the end, and then
twist it, and that's how you.
But obviously they'd rigged it so the sausage meat just flies out, and the guy's there, and he's like, obviously he's left unattended, and he's just trying to control this sausage meat, and it's like this sausage is like mega long, and he's just then it's like the sausage. This is just going weird because I was about to say the sausage is fat, and anyway, moving on.
We've just started, and you're talking about a long fat sausage. We need to find a clip of that. We'll have to watch it.
Yeah,
it'll be on YouTube with everything else.
What
else did you used to like as a kid, like kids' TV? Let's not become one of those podcasts, but what was your favourite show as a kid?
I used to love Turtles. Used to love Ghostbusters.
I was more Turtles than Ghostbusters. I liked Ghostbusters, but Turtles.
I had some. My dad bought me some Ghostbusters, some Turtles high tops.
No way.
Yeah, they were like. Yeah,
say they're sick. I can't even see.
Got me them from Car Boot last week. They were like black.
Size 11.
Yeah, and then round the front it had like tortoiseshell pattern.
Oh, cool.
They were like black with the green tortoiseshell and like purple trim. Proper like high tops back in.
Who was your favourite turtle?
I was always like most kids, just like Raphael.
Most kids were like Raphael.
I think it's maybe
because the least favourite.
I always thought just because everyone had the same Raphael costume, but I just remembered I think they only ever made Raphael. Do you remember when you used to go like non-school uniform day?
You used to go in just as a
turtle. 50p, and everyone. So like, obviously, like probably a lot of kids, like the parents couldn't really afford to go out and buy like the full like padded back thing.
All right, yeah, with the shell and that.
Yeah, so there used to be more of a budget option that all parents went for, and it was basically
all parents.
Well, certainly the school I went to.
Because I've got no idea what you mean.
It was basically a plastic apron. It was a turtle's plastic apron.
Like a wearable one.
Yeah, you just kind of bit of Velcro on the side, like pop your head through.
Right, I'm with you now.
With
Yeah,
okay. With the
yeah.
kind of, the
plastic
cheap
mask,
plastic
like
mask
a
with the
joke
elastic.
shop mask.
Yeah. And then I had like the little daggers.
I remember, so I was always Donatello.
Yeah.
Thinking man.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's easiest to replicate his weapon.
Stick.
So it's a stick in it. Anyone's got a stick or like a brush handle or whatever.
Yeah, broom handle, yeah.
Or whatever. But I do remember trying to be Raphael once because I used like a gardening trowel and the one that's like a 3.
Yeah.
It's quite close to it is.
Yeah.
What they call katanas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Katanas. And I should know that because I've got a mate of mine who's like dead into weapons, and we used to go to his garage. Have I told you about him?
Yeah.
We used to. He used to do Jeet Kune Do, JKD, which is what Bruce Lee invented.
Right.
So it's a bit like mixed martial arts. It takes.
I just thought of Rex
elements,
Kwon Do.
It's a bit similar to be fair. It takes like elements from it. So the footworks from boxing, you use bits from kung fu and
Do you wear
karate,
US parachute pants?
Parachute pants. I used to do all that sort of stuff. So we used to do like it's like Thai stick fighting and all this mad stuff.
The one where you kind of got it like
no, you have 2. You have like a stick, but they're like
right
a baton kind of length,
right,
maybe a foot and a half, 2 foot long, and they're to replicate swords.
Right.
So rather than chop each other's arms off, you just whack each other in the arm. Well, we used to use foam ones, wear white t-shirts, put a line of lipstick on it, so that when you got hit, you could see the mark.
Oh,
if that
right.
makes sense. Not just to be weird.
Yeah.
Put the lipstick on the sword. I mean, not on
yourself.
Just give each other a kiss. But we used to go round to his house, and he'd go, "Oh, let's go in the garage and play with my weapons." Sounds a bit innuendo-y, and be like, oh, right, okay. And you go in his garage, and he'd have like my favourite thing was he had like a blow dart gun thing.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
So like like you see like a pea shooter. Yep.
Yeah.
But it fires like maybe a foot long dead fine darts.
Yeah.
That they'd go through your jeans and stick in.
No one did
the hitting, breathe it in the
like
wrong
in
way.
bottom. They go camping. They got the dart.
Do it the wrong way.
They got a set of darts in the pocket in the tent pole.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. But yeah, so we all used to like fire it into my mate Andy, into his arse or something when he'd be picking something up. But it hurt, like it did it. And he had ninja stars, like throwing stars. We used to throw them into his wall. He had a wall a bit like that, like a breeze block.
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
in his typical garage wall. And we'd put like stuffed posters on and throw them in that. But they were like super sharp because you had to keep sharpening them because obviously digging into the wall would go blunt. But you also had rubber ones as well. So like you'd be throwing it, sticking it in the wall, and you throw the rubber one at your mate and watch him shit themselves and go, because you think you're chucking a ninja. Obviously, on one occasion thrown might have thrown the wrong one. But nothing too bad happened, but it was quite funny. But yeah, you used to have swords, what they call nunchucks.
Yeah.
Like Michelangelo, they're hard to use.
Yeah.
They hurt if you get them wrong.
Yeah. It's funny when you see them on YouTube or wherever.
Yeah, knock themselves out.
Yeah.
I don't even understand how they work as a weapon. Because, like, you don't need to do all of that. It looks cool.
Just like...
But, like, you whack someone with it and it just bounces off. It's not... You can't, like, whack them and then spin it. Do you know what I mean?
A stick would be more effective.
Yeah.
Or a sword.
A sword, yeah. Sword would be most effective. Donatello...
A samurai sword and just...
Donatello had a stick, which, in reality, isn't the best of those weapons.
No. Considering
he's up against, people with swords and stuff like the...
Yeah.
Foot Clan, as they were called.
Yeah.
Foot Clan. But I can't believe you didn't say Casey Jones. I thought Casey Jones would be right up your street.
The hockey
mask.
Yeah.
Stick, golf club. Yeah. Baseball bat.
I never thought of that, yeah. I think as a kid, though, you just kind of like, they're
the
in
goodies,
your face.
Aren't they? Yeah. They were everywhere. There was so much marketing. Like, we've mentioned him before, but Theo Kane, who does Slimehouse.
Yeah.
He's done things before which he's talked about on stuff, and it's something that I'd never thought about until literally I heard him say it. It was like, there used to be kids' toys, like in Argos, and on the adverts for Live and Kicking and whatever, of like horror films, and like Terminator toys. Like it's an 18 film with toys for 6-year-olds.
I had a Terminator 2 figure.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
And
but how old were you? Like 10 or something?
No, I'd have been like, because when Terminator 2 came out 30 years ago, I just seen something. So how old? So that'd have been
89 and 91.
91. So
you'd have been what, 6,
5 or 6.
Yeah.
And for like my dad got me a Terminator figure. In fact, I was
at
at
the car boot.
No, it was in Scarborough.
In the shop.
Went to shop and bought one. But
out.
I was at car boot the other week with my dad, and I had this, and it was about 1.5 foot tall Terminator figure, and it had like buttons on the back. His eyes lit up. He'd say a few phrases.
I remember that. Yeah.
Someone was selling one.
Oh no way!
And I should have bought it, but I didn't.
Should have. It would look good on there.
I know. Yeah.
Can fight.
Yeah. But
Freddy versus
and then
Terminator.
I stood on it and broke the leg. Not of the guy at the car boot.
just stamp on it. No, I don't want that, mate. It's shite. It's broken.
It's broken.
Can you get us a quid off?
Yeah. But yeah. I
You'd get like Freddy Krueger dolls and stuff in your Argos. They used to circle it for Christmas and that.
Yeah.
Classic. But there'd be like mad like Commando figures where you could have like the gun from Commando. And you press a button and it says like, "Let off some steam, Bennett," or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it'd say. Probably probably less close to Arnie's voice than mine just was, to be fair. But like kids' TV shows, like I used to love like adults' TV shows, thinking I was cool as a kid. I used to be sick at the Generation Game.
Oh, I used to
not obviously I wasn't good at what they do because they'd have to build like a clay pot in a 97. But mate, the conveyor belt. My short-term memory back then it's terrible now. Back then, I could name everything in the order it came in.
Yeah.
Cuddly Toy.
Quivering Block.
Yeah, Quivering Bloke was always there.
Yeah.
I could remember all of them in order so well.
I used to love the game shows as a kid.
I was a big game show fan. You don't really get them. I know that it's a bit hacked to kind of say, oh, you don't really get TV shows like that anymore.
No.
But like the biggest ones at the minute are like Standard Quiz, like, The Chase, which is just a quiz show.
Yeah.
Or like Eggheads and that sort of thing. But then...
It's like the family.
Like the only ones that really
like they do the
like,
kind of Saturday night takeaway, which is a bit.
Saturday night takeaway is just them getting away with paying taxes by doing an Oprah Winfrey and just giving away loads of free stuff.
Yeah.
They have like, I don't know how many episodes, is it 12 or 10 or whatever?
Yeah.
And for 11 of them, it's them just going, here's a holiday.
Here's a Suzuki.
Yeah. You've got an A in your name. You've got a holiday to Florida for the last end of the show.
It's like Noel's house party used to be kind of like giving away prizes, a bit of all sorts. And then someone died.
No, that wasn't on Noel's house party.
No.
No, it was before that. It was on, I can't remember what it was called, but it was Noel Edmonds.
Right.
So he
killed someone.
Sort of. So, well, he didn't kill anybody.
Yeah.
We'll address that bit first. The show that, I can't remember what the name of the show was, but if you Google it, it'll say. But he basically, I think they did like, it's a bit of a game show.
Yeah.
Because it was 1989.
Did you have to do like a stunt that went wrong?
Yeah. So basically, they had to do a bungee jump and he wasn't clipped on. Or it snapped. One of the two. And it was like, he stopped working because of it, because he felt terrible, because he was like the host of the show.
Yeah.
This guy died. I think he had to bungee jump to win money or a car or whatever. His biggest fear was heights.
Do you ever do a bungee jump?
No.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
Nope. I don't like, well, I've said this before, because like I don't like theme parks.
No.
I think they're shit, because the 3 things I don't like more than anything is heights.
Yeah.
Shitting myself, literally or metaphorically, and queuing.
Yeah.
So to go to Alton Towers to queue to go on a dead eye up ride to shit myself for 2 minutes is it's not my dream day out. But no, bungee jumping's not. I'd rather jump out of a plane than bungee jump. If I had a choice between the two, I'd rather jump out of a plane, because A, you're strapped to someone else.
Yeah.
So they can. Hopefully they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
and they'll pull the parachute and we'll be all right and it'll be sound.
Yeah.
And also, you don't get that feeling, you know, when you get to the bottom and you're bouncing back up, and then you're just dangling upside down. Because as well, like, I know people like, I know someone who's like, I did a bungee jump, it's the most amazing experience of my life. And I'm like, you did it in a pub car park in North Wales.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fair play to you. I'll sponsor you a couple of quid for doing it, because I'm sure. And if I was going to bungee jump, I'd do it somewhere cool, like where's like New Zealand is.
That's like they've got like the biggest.
It's like it's big for, but like somewhere like that. I'd be less scared doing it in New Zealand off the biggest thing ever than doing it off a crane in a pub car park in Deeside. I just no.
I'm no good. I'm no good with heights.
I'm weird with heights, so I'm not actually scared of heights. I don't like heights, but I'm not scared of them unless I've got something in my hand.
All right.
I don't know what this. I don't know what this. I don't know if it's experience is the word is, but this feeling, right? So like, when I like as an example, when I was in sixth form in school, we were on like the third floor up, the common room, and the windows were big, massive ones, and I could happily sit on the window with one leg in, one leg out, over the edge. As soon as I picked my phone up, my arse would go.
Yeah.
And my belly would be like, but as soon as I put my phone down, I'm all right. But then, if I'm not holding my phone, but I even think about holding something at height, I can't do it. It sets me, and I don't know what it is. And it's not like the fear of dropping whatever it is. And I'm not like, I'm scared of breaking my phone, because it could literally just be a little plastic thing like that. If I dropped it from the third floor, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
It'd be arse would go. It's so weird. So, but it's the same in everything. Same in a plane. I look out the window holding something in a plane. I'm like, ugh.
Planes are like, the older I get, I used to love it as a kid. Used to love flying. The older I got, the more kind of like every time
You become more aware.
Well, I just think we're crashing all the time.
Not while I'm drinking.
I'll let you have a sip.
Cheers, mate.
So where was it? We were flying into Manchester, and I just turned around to my mate and I was like, I don't want to alarm you, but mate, we're crashing into a field here. And he's like, what are you on about? Sweat's pouring down. I'm like, mate, we're crashing into a field.
Like, what's his name? That gif with the sweat. And
I was like, and he's like, what are you on about? It's like, mate, I'm looking out the window and all I can see is grass. We are going down, and I'm like gripping the chair. I'm like, oh my God. And then we just landed on the
runway that's in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need.
Like I say, me on planes are completely just, it's just weird.
You ever had a weird experience on a plane?
Yes.
Other than thinking you're going to crash as you're coming into land?
So I had, you know, when you go on a plane and you go to the toilet and you go for a wee and then you press, and basically it just sounds like the bottom.
Yeah.
And I was like I'm getting sucked out of this toilet here. Like I'm gonna, I'm gonna be, and I was only a kid, and I was just like terrified. And ever since, and I've been on a lot of flights since then, I've never gone to the toilet ever again since. And I've flown transatlantic flights, and I do not go to the toilet, not once, not for a week.
How can you?
And I'll have drinks, and I'll have beers on the plane, and my body just knows, like, you're on a plane, it shuts off completely. But as soon as I get out of as soon as I get off the plane, I'm running to the toilet.
On the air, the landing strip.
Yeah, although I think it might have been the last time I flew, I had a couple beers on the plane.
You don't want to open the seal, do you? That's the thing.
Yeah. We landed. I was going for a stag do, and I don't know if I got vertigo or something. I was like...
Definitely not the beers.
I only had 2 little beers. That was it. And I was like, man, it felt like I was walking on a trampoline. And I
get vertigo. It's horrible.
And I had to go to the toilets and just like splash water in my face. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. I felt so dizzy. And then we got a limousine into the city because it was a stag do.
Classic.
I'll just leave it at that. And and basically everyone's having like, champagne or beers, and there's like a picture of me at the back of the limo with a bottle of water, and I just felt so ill. So then we got to the hotel and everything. Everyone's getting ready, like, oh, we'll go out for some drinks, food, and they went to a karaoke bar, and I went to bed. And I just laid in bed, like, feeling
You've
so
got a
dizzy.
habit of doing things like that. Like when you went on a work trip.
Yeah, went on a work trip.
You went to work in, was it Dorking?
Yeah.
It was so funny because our mate Jake was also on that work trip.
Yeah.
Put in our group chat. Can't believe Tony's driven all the way down to Dorking for 4 days and
I was there for one afternoon.
pulled a sickie. Stayed in the hotel room.
I didn't. I was sick. Technically, I was genuinely ill. It wasn't like me pulling a fast one because I was so bored in a dungy Premier
Inn, was it?
It was horrible. And then we had to drive back from Surrey back to Sheffield. Well, he did. I was too ill. But I was in a wedding, so I had to drive back down the next day all the way to Surrey. And there's free beers and wine and all that, and I couldn't drink. I went to Pizza Express. I ate a slice.
Didn't sweat.
Yeah.
Was that the one? Was it in Surrey? Woking did he go to?
I was in...
where is Woking? I don't know.
Where did Chelsea train? Cobham.
Oh, yeah. Posh.
Yeah. Do you know...
Not too posh for a Pizza Express, though. People just think it's posh because it's not Pizza Hut.
Yeah. Honestly, in the UK, I think it's the poshest place I've ever been to.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know where mine is.
I mean, that was like everyone was driving like BMWs, Mercedes, Porsche, basically German cars.
Yeah.
If you listen to our last episode when we were talking about drivers, all of them are
You'd
kind
love
of
that.
Yeah. And there's me with my Strackmobile with the dints in the side and a sellotaped
with mirror sellotaped on.
Yeah, getting some funny looks down
Gordon
there.
Strachan's head in the back window. I had I had a mad couple of flights. Went to LA 9 years ago now. And the flight there was direct and the flight back wasn't. We went kind of via Toronto. So the flight there, because I'd booked after all the others that we'd gone with, because I went with Don't Flop, went to this battle rap event in LA, and they'd all kind of booked together, so they were all sat together. I'd booked later on. I think I booked on the Monday and we flew on the Thursday, sort of thing. And I ended up in the middle seat between two, I'll politely call them stereotypical Americans in size. And
what about smell?
I'm not commenting on that. So it was like the 3 seats wide, 333, I think it was, and I was in the middle. So they were hogging the leg room because they had bigger legs than me.
Bigger old legs, yeah.
And both armrests, which is rude. Unwritten rule: if you get the window, you get one armrest.
Yep.
Because you've got the window.
Yeah.
If you're in the aisle, you get one armrest because you've got the aisle for the extra leg space.
Yeah.
If you're in the middle, 2 armrests because you're stuck between 2 people.
Yeah.
Unwritten, but fair. But I had none of that. I barely had enough room for me. But I had and they were dead rude as well. But they were also asleep and snoring dead loud, so I couldn't even like get past. Or it was just horrendous. And it was all the way to LA, which was 9 or 10 hours, something like that. It was horrible. Then on the way back, I had a really early morning flight. I think we flew at like 5 in the morning from LA to Toronto.
Yeah.
Couple of hours in Toronto, back home. So the flight to Toronto, we were all split up all over the plane or whatever. But it was dark, it was dead early, we were all tired, whenever. So I was just like, I'll just fall asleep. Because I can't sleep on planes normally.
Yeah,
I'm not good at sleeping on transport.
I'm not, because I always think if we're going to crash, I might just have to take over and save the day.
I thought you were going to say if you were going to crash, you'd be asleep and not know about it.
No, I'd just take over the plane and just land it.
Have you got much flying experience?
I've seen films. It's easy, isn't it?
You'd be all right. So I went to sleep, but I put like a film on, and I think I put Goodfellas on. It's about the same length as the flight.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep, but I was in the window seat, but it was only a small plane. It was only 2 seats. And when I woke up, I was spooning the woman next to me. But like, I mean, full on. She was about 50, and I had my arm round her. like I was like this. So I had like my feet like that, but I had my leg like on her leg, and I was like that. My head leaned on her, and I hadn't fallen asleep like that. Obviously, I'd fallen asleep,
and she was just fine.
Yeah, I woke up.
Polite.
I woke up, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm mortified. I'm so sorry." She goes, "I didn't want to wake you up. You look comfy." She said, "I'm not bothered." So I was just spooning this woman all the way to Toronto.
I've been on a... Just reminded me, so you were saying about booking flights, you know, outside of everyone else. And I used to work for a travel company, right? I used to book flights for a living. And my mates had booked to go, like one of my mates' birthday, we're going to go to Berlin. I was a bit skint. I was like, I don't know if I can make it. And then I got a check through the post for a tax rebate.
Ah, nice.
It was about 1,200 quid. I was like, Charlie Bucket, you know, running it. And I was like, yeah, I'll come. I'll book the flights, right? I managed to get the same flight out from the same airport, everything. Yeah. And it's like, and you got the flight back, right? Yeah. It's like, you got it back for the Wednesday, didn't you? Yeah. Are you sure? Yeah. Are you really sure? I'll check. Did you book Wednesday? No. So that's your job. Your job is to book flights, and I booked the wrong flight home.
So when did you? What, earlier or later?
Later.
So
I was in Berlin
on your own.
I could have paid €30 to change it. It's like, I'm not paying €30.
So I'll stay and spend more than that on a hotel.
Well, I stayed in a youth hostel and made friends with some Australian lass.
Why?
Why? Yeah.
You still keep in touch with?
Nah.
Sheila?
Went to... that's my mum. Well, technically, yeah, because I was at my mum's house last week or week before.
That's not the Sheila I meant, but
yeah, right, yeah.
I was going to go with Sheila or Kylie, but Sheila's more Australian, isn't it?
I just went for some like... Oh, man, is it like bratwurst or...
Bratwurst, some sausage.
You
just didn't want to say sausage, did
no,
you?
I didn't.
That's exactly... I know exactly what you were doing there.
And anyway, when I was in Berlin, I was like, well, I'm here for... They went like Wednesday afternoon. And I was like, well, what can I do? Hertha Berlin were playing.
Oh, nice.
They were playing Wolfsburg when they had... Wolfsburg had the Lord Bentner.
Oh, yeah.
And Kevin De Bruyne was there.
Oh, yeah.
Solomon Kalou at Hertha Berlin. And so I was like, I'll go to a game. Midweek Bundesliga game. It was brilliant. Like, just how good they do it out there. So, first of all, it was about €13 for a ticket.
Decent, isn't it?
Yeah. I sat, so you know how they have the singing fans behind one of the goals. I mean, it's a cool stadium, like the Olympic Stadium, but it is running track, isn't it?
It's the problem with these.
Yeah, it was quite cool to think like the 100-meter world record is set here, and but it's dead mad. I did the tour, and obviously there was the infamous 1936 Olympics. That's why it was built.
Yeah.
And just going round and seeing like, where's the 1930s, certain insignias.
Yeah.
Which they obviously removed.
Yeah.
But they're still like outlines of things, or they've like tried to, as best as they can, kind of
tried to cover it, but it's
still
there.
For anybody that should know your history. But yeah, it's obviously the kind of Nazi Olympics. Yeah, but you had like Jesse Owens.
Yeah, I was about to say it's the Jesse Owens one, wasn't it?
And so it's infamous and iconic.
Yeah.
So that was really fascinating. Have you ever seen the Olympic Stadium? And there's always like a big, I was going to say stick. It's like a statue, like a big kind of.
I don't know what you
long
mean.
tower. And
the tower thing. Yeah.
And it always looks like it's part of the stadium.
Yeah.
And it's not. There's like a whole nother field at the back.
Oh, right, okay.
It's quite a distance away, but it's just
must be massive.
But that's where they used to have like the rallies.
Oh, okay.
So eerie. It's just like it's mental just to see.
Yeah. Because when you see footage of it, and you see how many people were at those things,
and it's crazy, really fascinating, but crazy. Obviously they've done a lot of improvements since then.
They've rebranded. Since then.
And it's a lovely stadium. And so I got a ticket in the top tier, so where the fans sing, and it was just a really kind of great atmosphere. But your match day ticket also covered your public transport, so it was an 8 o'clock kickoff. So from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m.
Like the bus and train or whatever.
Yeah, but because I was on my own and I was getting the tram after Hertha Berlin won 1-0, Solomon Kalou. He scored, not just him being there. And I remember getting the tram back, or the tube or subway, and the guy just starts talking. Do you know when you're like a tourist and someone starts speaking to you in
their native language?
Yeah, and he had a Wolfsburg.
Right, okay. Shirt on.
Scarf and that.
Oh,
yeah.
Right, yeah.
And I was like, oh, sorry, English. And I just felt, I was like, oh. But then he was really nice and started like
speaking English too.
Yeah, because you don't want to be like those kind of people like Brits abroad.
Yeah,
where you just kind of
shouting at them and
slowly. Yeah,
2 plates of chips, please.
And por favor.
Yeah. 2 dos beer.
Yeah,
mate.
Yeah. Got my Beret. Les Cadbury's fingeres.
Les Cadbury's taste exactly the same.
La beer, la dickhead. And yeah, they've just got it so right over there.
It's mad because I remember seeing it's probably a bit hack to talk about, but I saw about was it the chairman of Bayern Munich?
Yeah.
When he said about it's about 180 quid for a season ticket.
I don't think it's that. It's about 100 or just over 100.
Yeah, and he said something, I don't know word for word, but it was basically to the effect of we could charge more.
Yeah.
We could charge what they charge in the Premier League and we'd make a few million extra a year. But a few million is 5 minutes in a transfer negotiation.
I believe his words were, we don't milk our fans like cows, unlike the English.
Cash cows. He called he said cash cows, unlike the English.
We don't milk them.
Yeah. And
because he walked the league, didn't they? They completely, and he said it wasn't even competitive. Refund for everyone.
Yeah, just refunded everyone.
And they've done it when they've like battered teams, just one off, and they're like, well, we'll just refund you.
Yeah, it's mad. And it's like, because it doesn't need to be the way it is in Britain. And that's why I don't go and watch so much anymore, because I just don't, I don't enjoy it the same. I don't enjoy Premier League football. But the cost of it compared to like I went to, we went to Budapest. I think, have we discussed this on the podcast? I can't remember. I went to Budapest with Kirsty, and obviously the first thing I did was have a look, and there's about 5 teams there in there. So let's have a look at what they've got. And Honved played Ferencváros. So I was like, we're there for 5 days. Do you mind if we go? So she was like, yeah, fine. Thinking it was like, do you know what I mean? Like a cup of Bovril and a sing-song. And it was like, bit rough, should we say. And, but I think the tickets were like the equivalent of about a £5. And I know that the Bundesliga is obviously a higher caliber than the Hungarian league.
I think it's the most attended league.
Wouldn't surprise me. But it's obviously a higher caliber and a higher standard. But it doesn't matter, because it's still the biggest league in Germany, still the biggest league in Hungary, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So it's still on a par. But It was literally about a fiver. I mean, Honved, they're like from what I understand, they're like the poorer side.
Yeah.
Like their area is like the most poverty stricken of all the districts. But even so, I was like, it's not a fiver.
Yeah.
Let's get in. I mean, we went and it was the same. They were speaking Hungarian, and then as soon as they heard me speak, and they were like, "Oh, you're English. Who do you support?" Blah, blah, blah. And you know what I mean? And started like asking me like a million. I got interviewed, sort of thing, like asking me a million questions, because they just love British, English football. And
yeah. Well, I went to watch. That was like when I went to watch Real Mallorca, and one of my mates, Tom, had a Stone Island like a long sleeve t-shirt.
Yeah.
So he had this Stony t-shirt on, and it was a mad one because we went to the ticket office and it was like, oh, sold out. Is it the San Moy, their ground? And
yeah.
it's like they're in the second division, and they're in a survival battle at this point.
They never sell out.
But they're like, oh no, sold out. How? So then there was a ticket tout guy.
Yeah.
Selling tickets, and we're thinking, God, what's he going to charge us here? Cost us €10. And we're like, yeah,
well, that'll do.
But they have like a DJ. They'll have like a little temporary bar thing outside. They have like a
fan zone,
like a little fan zone. But yeah, you just kind of drink beers and
yeah. They had that in. So when we went to Honved, it wasn't at their ground.
Yeah,
they were at. Is it Ushpest or Kishpest? I think it was Kishpest's ground. So if I've mentioned this before, I apologise. But basically, it's the weirdest ground I've ever been in because it's not big enough.
Yeah.
For a ground, the land is like square. So normally you have the pitch, and then you have like around the side, around behind either goal, and it goes back and whatever. But there, they literally have the stand down the touch lines either side, and behind the goal is just a massive grey brick wall.
Yeah.
But it's literally from me to you behind the goal.
Yeah.
They have to have a net to slow the ball from hitting, because if it hits the wall, it's
like playing five-a-side
indoors. It's like indoor football. It was like in the football.
FIFA 97.
Yeah, and it echoes around because obviously the sound echoes and stuff.
Was it under a roof?
No, it's not under a roof. I mean, it's got a roof over the stand,
yeah.
but it's not like a full roof. But it was just bizarre. But then so we went and bought the ticket. It's a bit of a faff buying tickets because you have to like give your ID and everything. I think it's because of the trouble they have. Because I know that like Ferencváros,
they were dead against.
They stopped going. They boycotted games for about a year.
Did something on them.
I think they did. So there was a big uproar about that, and I kind of get it, but I'm also kind of like, well, you're not doing anything wrong. You've got nothing to do about, sort of thing. But whatever. But so obviously we did that. We bought the tickets. It come to like, I think it come to like £10.40 for two of us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But then they had like they've got like a club shop, like the official club shop, and you go in and they've got shirts, and they've got like, you know, like old shirts, like with the lace in the top. Obviously, Ferenc Puskás played for them.
Yes,
Ferenc Puskás, and they've got T-shirts with him on, and you know, like all that sort of memorabilia. And the shop isn't that big.
Yeah,
it's quite a small shop. But outside the club shop, they've got, and I'm not exaggerating, maybe 25 meters of like plaster wallpaper tables out, filled with different T-shirts and everything from the ultras. Nice. They set up outside the visitors, but they're selling like, and everyone wears them. So like, you know, over here, like the hooligans wear like the Stone Island, like the CP goggle jackets and whatever. They all wear like Puskás Army, like always black.
Yeah.
Always wearing black T-shirt, Puskás Army on. And like you'd see, it was so funny. So I'll come back to that bit, right? So we went across the road. It was like the shittest fan park you've ever seen. So it was all like wobbly flagstones.
Not quite Las Vegas lights.
Not quite Las Vegas lights, no. Definitely not as family friendly. So there was like a bar. We went in the bar, but it was rammed, and I couldn't be arsed. I didn't really want anything anyway. But it was like proper working men's club sort of bar inside, you know what I mean? And that was whatever. We come out and there was like a hole in the wall and it had a kitchen the other side of it. So we're like, oh, right, they're selling food. And like, I didn't get anything. I think Kirsty got some like gyros. Is it gyros or gyros? How do you pronounce it?
Oh, like the Greek
food, yeah. Gyros in it, I think. She got some like pork, and honestly, the portion was like loads, massive, and it was so nice. It was literally like £2 or something.
Yeah.
So we were there, and we got talking to a few of the local Honved fans and stuff like that. Obviously, I wasn't wearing a shirt. I wasn't wearing a black T-shirt. I was just wearing like a polo or whatever. And you look like a footy hooligan from Europe rather than from there because you're not in a shirt that they're wearing. So they talk, you fight at games and all this sort of stuff. And so I gave it the big, and I was like, yeah, loads. Like Kirsty's like nudging me, like, but they were all so sad. They were really, really nice, and then the atmosphere changed like that because all of these police turned up, riot gear on, the big helmets, the shields, batons out, and everything, and they split the road. Right. So the road was like 3 or 4. I think it was 3 lanes on each side. It's massive, like a big carriageway. And they literally, like, where the stand is, the ground, they've literally got these massive fences and gates that they close to basically walk. And they'd closed off this dual carriageway motorway thing so the Ferencváros fans can walk up. And they're all walking up. I'll put a photo on the screen because there's from the game that we were at. And there's all like this green smoke everywhere and all this shouting. It's all, obviously I don't understand any of it. It's all in Hungarian. But then like, all you hear is like, you could hear bits because you could hear like, fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like you hear the odd swear word that you pick up on. And like I looked and it was like kids sticking their fingers up at them and that. Bottles are flying everywhere. But then you'd see like, and I'm not exaggerating, this woman was about at least 75.
Yeah.
In an army camo zip-up, Puskas army jacket on, sticking the fingers up to the fans and that. Kirsty's like, what is going on? Like, videoing it for her brother and stuff because he's a big football fan. And
you're like, it could be you.
Yeah. I know, yeah, so that's you when we keep coming back, that. And it all went out and it was all crazy and all that. And it was ace. It was dead. Yeah. Not, to be honest, it was quite tame. It was more posturing and a lot of... There wasn't any scrapping. There was no fighting because there's that many police. Yeah. I'm not exaggerating. There's about 250 police maybe. There was absolutely
It's a bit
loads.
of peacocking in it. It's a bit kind of...
It's like a display more than an attack, say. But then after the game, we were waiting. We got a taxi back in. They've got like a mad... I can't remember what it's called. It's a bit like Uber, but it's better. So, like, it basically tells you exactly how much the journey will cost, which Uber weren't doing at the time.
Yeah.
And you could pay in cash and whatever, and it picks you up. But honestly, mate, I don't think we waited more than 5 minutes for a taxi ever used. I can't remember what it's called.
I think the taxi... I only got a taxi, like, to and from the airport.
So good, mate. It was so good. But, like, where we got it from, we had to wait on, like, this main road. But all the Ferencváros fans had coaches to go back. So they walked up and they had coaches going back. But I bought a Honved scarf that I had, and they were going past, and they were all going mad out. They were like frothing at the mouths, going at the windows. Kirsty's like, hide your scarf, take your scarf off now, take your scarf off now. And I'm like, it will be all right. Thinking, in the end, I was like, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. We'll just took that because they were all hanging out the windows, pointing and shouting. And obviously, I'm just me and my girlfriend stood on the corner of a road. I don't know where I am. I don't speak the language. I'm waiting for a taxi that can't get here because there's a parade of buses going out full of hooligans. All right, it's us, the Turnstile 2. Just wanted to let you know about the podcast sponsor, which is Circa 88. Check out circa88football.com for your football shirt needs.
They've got loads in stock, shirts from all around the world, ones that are really hard to get hold of, like this Mexico 1999 shirt that was used only in
Confederations Cup.
It's lovely that, isn't it? And you can get 20% off. If you use the code Turnstile88 at the checkout, you'll get 20% off your order, and that's for everything on the site.
And also, if you give them a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Circa88Football, and again, don't forget to use that code Turnstile88 for your 20% off.
Thank you. Enjoy the show. I went to a pre-season friendly at Tranmere Rovers.
Yeah.
With Everton.
Was it Prenton Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before I moved to Sheffield, I was back home, and mate was like, "Oh, I've got 2 tickets if you want to go." I was like, "Yeah, sounds pre-season, be a laugh, day out."
You go batter Mike Dean.
And oh God, I'd love to. And he'd only got them in the wrong stand, so like the Everton fans were all behind that goal, and then we were queuing to get in, and I was like looking out, and I'm like, so no, we're in the right stand, we're in the Everton fan stand. I was like, well, where did you get the tickets from? He's like, well, from their website. Like, the Everton website? No. I was like, oh mate. So we were sat there in the home end for what is essentially a Merseyside derby.
Yeah.
It's only a friendly, and they don't play each other often because obviously they've not been in the same league and whatever, but I thought, oh, we'll be all right. And then they scored, and Everton scored. I can't remember what the score was. I think they scored 3 or 4. And my mate was like, yes. And then they noticed, and I was like, oh, God. No one kicked off. And to be honest, we had a bit of a laugh with the lads behind us and that because they were sounding off. But I was just like, I'm not doing this again. I've done it in Man City with Everton. Been in the home end, and Tim Cahill scored a last-minute winner. I think it was like an 89th minute header from a corner, like he used to do. Come to the corner flag, giving it the exact, but it was the corner flag was like from me to you away.
Yeah.
And I'm surrounded by Manx kicking off, and I'm sat on my hands at. Don't say that. Don't say that about my Tim. I love him. Don't say that. And do you know what I mean? It was horrible. Like, I can't enjoy it.
Imagine if you were a Man City fan that could only get in or did the same kind of thing, and you had an Arsenal away end ticket when Adebayor scored that goal and just ran the whole end.
So good.
And slid. And obviously...
That's the only time you'd enjoy doing that, I think.
Yeah.
Because like I enjoyed the last minute winner, but I couldn't enjoy the fume because it wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
But with Adebayor doing...
The fact is, I mean, not an Arsenal fan, not a City fan. I don't know.
There was no... It was...
Biff.
There was no
animosity.
No, it was like, I don't understand.
Man City...
I thought it was a fairly amicable transfer.
I think Man City got their money and flexed their kind of
just bought
wealth.
him.
Bought him to build,
to build the team up at the time.
But my God,
that was ASAP.
It was.
What's your favourite celebration that you've seen in football? I reckon yours and mine will be the same.
I probably put that up there.
That is probably in my top 3. I love
Tamuri Ketspires.
There we go. That's it.
Just booting the advertising.
Kicking the was it an Adidas board?
Maybe. Yeah, I think
it was a black and white.
Adidas.
I say Adidas. You say Adidas.
Yeah.
Let's call the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's my favourite. It just makes me that and what's his name? Taking his shorts off, put them on his head, and it was that. Was that in Germany? I can't remember who it was. You know, green, wearing green, weren't they?
I've mentioned the whole Adidas Puma story, haven't I? So for those
I can't remember.
So going back to the whole Berlin,
all right,
stadium. Yeah, I love my history. To be fair, I actually did. I had to do research on a project on Puma when I was at uni. And I didn't know until I was looking into like the origins of Puma, and obviously you had like Dassler Brothers Sports or something of of that name. I can't quite remember. And then you had Adi Dassler or Adolf Dassler. So Adi Dassler and Rudolf Dassler. I'm sure one of them grassed the other one up to the Nazi party for not
being a Nazi.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Rudolf Dassler was the Nazi. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I don't think they ever spoke again. But obviously, the brothers kind of sports company split in half. Adi Dassler went to make Adidas. Rudolf Dassler went on to create Puma.
Right.
And you think of like the iconic players and the iconic boots. So you got the Copa Mundials / World Cups. You got the Puma Kings. You've had so many like you think with Puma with like Maradona, Pele wearing them, and well, look at Adidas and who's worn them.
Everybody.
Yeah.
What do you think of when you think of Adidas or Adidas? Beckham Predators probably be the first thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not my favourite boots.
No.
Copa Mundials, obviously, but
yeah, but they never spoke again. I don't think. Which, to be fair, if say if we were brothers and you were like dressing me up to the Nazi party, I probably wouldn't.
I would probably not speak to you for being a Nazi.
Exactly.
I think I would be more annoyed that you were a Nazi than that you were telling Nazis that I wasn't a Nazi. But
and
a lot of Nazi talk on this podcast so far.
I think they're grandkids or something. Like ended up when it went to them, kind of as a family, kind of I don't know, reconciled. But one of the family members went on to create the swimming brand Arena.
All right, yeah.
Are the main rivals to Speedo.
Yeah.
My old
another of your previous employers.
Yeah.
Speedo Tony.
And they so that family created like 3 big kind of sports brands. But yeah, in terms of like Adidas, at the time, for when we were kids, like when the Predators first came out, it was that Aussie used to play for Liverpool, wasn't it? Who created the Predators?
Yeah, it was like a car tyre, wasn't it, on the front?
Yeah, some
stitched on.
And
it's like the Mark 1 Predators had like they were like half an inch, weren't they? They were like massive, big ridges on the.
You remember as a kid, like if another kid came to school, so you might get your AstroTurfs to play, have a kickabout dinner time, and like a kid would turn up and he's got like Predator AstroTurfs on. You'd be like, oh mate, kick a ball, because it was all about
swerve and power.
Yeah.
And tell you what, they weren't as good as pods. Pod shoes with that big flat front, mate.
Oh, 99 shot power.
Oh, mate, the volleys you could leather with them.
I'm surprised. Oh, maybe it is. Like, there's a generation of us that have just got, like, mega strong legs from having to
wear pods to school. Or kickers.
Yeah.
Or rock boats.
I had kickers and I had pods.
Did you keep the tag on your kickers?
Yeah.
I think I took mine off because it wasn't cool to wear the tag, but I think I still kept it as a key ring because I liked it.
I think so. I don't know.
Pod power blasters.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with them. What else did you have as a kid? Football stuff?
I remember getting... So you had the Kickmaster, didn't you?
It's like a dog lead.
You had the dog lead one.
Dog lead one.
Yeah. And the ball went in a bag.
In like a net thing, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
So I didn't quite have that one.
You didn't have the belt one,
I had the belt one, the Mondo belt one, where you used to ping a ball and then it used to ping you in the bollocks.
Fly back at your bollocks.
Yeah.
Chest at best.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Maybe your face. If you really kind of...
It's like one of those... It's just literally like a long version. Like... you go the fair.
The balls with the
elastic band and you go like that with it.
And... I used to have one of those, like a green one, looked like a Power Rangers belt.
But with a ball attached to it.
Yeah. Do you know the cheap football set?
The Sondico goalie gloves, but they're not even Sondico, but they're like
yellow
with the rubber orange rubber fingertips and a black patch.
Just nibble. Used to nibble the rubber bits off.
I mean,
they're like gardening gloves.
They were like bricky gloves.
Yeah, with rubber strips attached to them.
Yeah. And they had strips on the back so you could punch it with grip. So.
When you think now, them Adidas horrible kind of gimp gloves, keeper gloves.
Those Predator ones with no Velcro that go all the way.
Basically, all they are is them gloves. Yeah. With the rubber bits on.
Yeah. Ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Argos, $8.99.
Yeah. Used to get a couple of cones, a cheap flyaway, and a
pump.
Which
it's got a ball pump.
You
didn't even use it on that ball.
I think I still got it.
What, the set or the pump?
The pump. At my mum's, I think I still have that pump. It's a green one.
This is
just
reminded me of something.
You used to ever get the ball pump and take the needle off and just go...
Yeah.
And blow your cheeks up.
I remember we had a school game once, and me and my mate were on the bench.
Right.
And it might not have even been a game. It might have been training. But we were on the sideline at the time anyway. And my mate, there was a pump with they had like that little needle that you thingy in it, and you used to have to put it in your mouth, didn't you? wet it.
I'm gonna say
there's the thumbnail done.
Yeah, there's the.
Used to have to like wet the needle to put it in the ball easier and whatever.
Yeah.
But so that needle thing was on the pump already. There was a couple of balls in the bag and whatever. So mate goes, yeah, watch this, and he'd found a slug. So he put it in the slug and like started trying to pump this slug up. Which obviously we don't live in a cartoon world. It didn't go dead big. But then,
and float away.
Not exact. This is no lie. About not even 5 minutes later, match ball's a bit flat. Teacher's referee and comes over, licks the
oh no
thing, yeah, and that's the same teacher that my mate went up for a header with in a student versus teacher game on, AstroTurf, not 4G, 3G, but I mean
pure
carpet with a Brillo pad on the top,
and then a bit of sand thrown on
a bit
top
of sand.
of it.
I don't know what that even did on that, and he went up for a header and then looked down and he'd broken both the teacher's arms. He'd landed like straight armed and he was proper like in a bad way because
we had I don't know if I mentioned it on a previous pod, but we had a PE teacher. He's a right bellend. And, well, one of them was actually Bridtown manager, and he was dead sound. He was a great PE teacher, Mr. Bowman, and then there was another teacher, Mr. Rucker, and he was just cocky. Thought he was. Do you know in Kes?
Yeah,
he was like that. He was the modern day version of the teacher in Kes.
Yeah,
and he turned round once because as kids, a fair few of us, we enjoyed Italian football, and certainly of that time. With AC Milan, a lot of us kind of like the Italian squad. We liked AC Milan.
Yeah.
And I remember like one of my mates on about Dimitri Albertini.
Right.
And he was like, I don't rate him. I'm better than him. And he goes, growing up, I was better than Albertini. It's like, he goes, I had trials at Blackburn and Blackpool. It's like... He plays for AC Milan.
He plays for AC Milan. He's an Italian international, and you think getting a trial at Blackpool?
Yeah, he played a World Cup final a few years ago. He's won Champions Leagues, and you didn't even.
Was it your school bullshitter, that teacher? Did you have a? Because we had a teacher, Mr. Tyson, who used to bullshit like mad.
Yeah,
he tells mad stories.
But we were playing a game once, and like the teacher from Kes, he gets involved and takes it dead seriously.
Yeah.
And my mate slide tackled him. Great challenge, like just because he was like a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Went in, and we were about 15 or so at the time.
So
it's not like
staunch enough, like it's not like going to bounce off. Or anything.
And so he goes in and makes a tackle, and because I remember like the teacher was not on my team, whereas my mate was, and I was like, I think I was on the wing, and then like he won the ball, like played it out, and then the whistle went. And he just cancelled the PE session. We all had to go in.
Tackled and he didn't like it.
He didn't like it. He didn't like the fact that.
Imagine that. Imagine being.
And it was a proper crunching but fair tackle.
Imagine our age.
Yeah.
Taking your ball and going home.
Yeah, that's
because you've been tackled by a 15-year-old.
Yeah. And that was it. And we're like, what? But he never. He had some weird chip on his shoulder. So like, I did GCSE PE. Terrible. I got a C.
I got a B and I didn't even take it. It's a true story.
I
only did 1 hour a week. And
I had a C going into the exam.
But from your coursework.
Well, I had the best score out of everyone for practical.
Is something quick one. We had to do a gymnastics piece as part of our GCSE PE. We had to do like one on apparatus and one on the floor. So on the floor, you do a bit of a cartwheel and a forward roll and handstand and all that sort of stuff. And everybody had to do it, and then they'd be asked afterwards what each thing was called to make sure that you're following a routine. But we were all just pissing about, obviously. It's a bunch of lads doing gymnastics. All you're going to do is try and do a somersault in it, really.
Yeah, you're going to think like you're a footballer celebrating.
So... this is in the exam. I ran and I didn't know what I was doing. I could do a cartwheel. I could do a bit of a front roll and whatever. And I basically I ran And imagine you're taking like a 99 power free kick.
Yeah.
And I like kicked and kind of span and lifted me.
Was it like some sort of like capoeira?
Yeah, it was like and I span and then I landed and kind of like the T thing like that. And that was how I finished. And the examiner, which was like an external PE teacher guy, was like, "Can you talk me through that?" I was like, "So I did a pike jump into whatever I did, forward roll into a cartwheel."
Yeah.
And what was that move at the end called? And obviously I don't know because it's not a real thing. So I said, "Oh, it's the Paul Ince." Because it looked like one of Paul Ince's free kicks. And he was like, when the teachers are trying not to laugh, and he was like, "I heard of that one before, write it down." You could see he was trying not, because I'd said Paul Ince.
I remember, when I remember getting moderated, and I think they picked like 3 sports for you to get moderated. So that teacher, Mr. Rucker, gave, like, bearing in mind, I played every game for school. I played regularly on a weekend.
Did he give you badminton and cricket or something?
Badminton was one of them.
Every school did badminton.
But he gave me a score out of 10 of 6.
What, for badminton?
No, for football. Bearing in mind, I was, like, he basically gave...
Do you not know you've got an SFA level 1 goalkeeping badge? Excuse you. Have you got it with you?
Yeah. I knew it.
You knew it'd come up.
It'd come up.
If you've not watched or listened to the previous episodes, we mentioned, I think it was episode 1, Tony has a Scottish Football Association level 1 goalkeeping badge.
You asked if you asked if we have a badge.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
You've never shown me this. Funnily enough, you've not worn it on your lanyard. Date attained. First name Tony. Look at that. This card confirms that the recipient has completed a Scottish FA coach education course. The coach is responsible for promoting respect and honouring the game.
Which I do every week.
I've seen you play football and you definitely promote respect and honour the game. That's amazing.
So we got to like so he gave us really low scores. I remember it because I got moderated on football, basketball and badminton. Luckily, I avoided baseball.
Baseball at school?
I've never played a game of cricket in my life. Apart from quick cricket in...
Cricket isn't baseball, though.
No, but bearing in mind going to a school in England,
right,
it's a very English sport.
It is an English sport, yeah.
I played a bit of quick cricket, when you were at primary school.
Yeah.
Bit of French cricket with a tennis racket.
Oh, yeah, classic.
But we never once in PE ever played cricket.
Well, so I didn't go to a Tory school.
Yeah. So they'd come out with this bucket of just fucking metal baseball bats.
Nice. Baseball. Well, you did baseball as PE?
Yeah.
Not rounders, like
full on.
With a baseball?
Yeah.
Did you ever get to wear the mitt?
So I had my own. I bought my own mitt. I've still got it.
Of course you did. Car boot off your dad.
I actually remember going to All Sports to buy it.
All Sports?
Yeah.
I actually remember All Sports.
And anyway, so in year 7 and 8, we learnt to play T-ball.
T-ball?
Basically, it's a rubber...
the one on the stick?
Yeah, it's a rubber tee.
Like Little League?
Yeah, and you just whack the ball off
the... you don't pitch it, it's just on there and you hit it.
But then you get to like year 9, and that's where you learn to pitch. And by year 9, so like, do you know your summer sports day would be like track and field?
Yeah,
so year 7 and 8, you do track and field. From year 9...
Or chewing tobacco and spitting everywhere.
Yeah.
Playing baseball.
Yeah, doing the nodding.
Having a brawl.
Yeah.
Brawl.
Taking steroids.
Taking loads of steroids.
And, so we played baseball.
Do you have like a proper baseball, is it called a pitch?
Like a field.
Baseball field, yeah.
Yeah.
You had did it have like the mound for the pitcher in there?
They just put a rubber... You had like rubber plates that they put
down.
Like
little ones they drop down.
Yeah, so they'd kind of...
Did it have the dust though, so you could do this like the knee slide to get to
it's just grass. So they'd paint it onto the grass, but
that's not as good.
I said burn it onto the grass mainly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to be a pitcher, and so I was summer sports day. Each form would then have their own. All the
Team.
boys had to play baseball. All the girls had to play rounders. And then we had a winter sports day where...
Same thing, innit?
Yeah.
To be fair. Smaller bat.
Where we used to play football. Girls would play...
On sports day, you'd play football?
Winter sports day, yeah. So we used to play... Boys would play football. Girls would
tobogganing.
Huh?
The downhill luge. Ski jump.
Yeah. Well, you could do biathlon because we had a shooting range at school.
Had a shooting... What school has baseball, shooting?
It's like they've brought an American... It's like they've brought America to
literally
to
like
East Yorkshire.
Yeah, like an American 12-year-old's dream school.
Yeah.
You're going to have to expand on that.
So we had... I think they still probably do it. But it was like CCF or Combined Cadet Force. So you would have...
Oh, like Army and Air Cadets sort of thing.
Yeah. And so you could join the Army, the Navy, or the RAF. And for one day a week at school, like, so you'd go to school in your uniform, and I think it might have been a Thursday. You'd come in full combat.
Camo gear.
Yeah, yeah.
No, is that why you got a beret? you managed to get...
Yeah.
You went to sixth form and joined the Marines.
And
Commando tone.
So I was like...
That was part of your school?
Yeah.
Like part of the education was...
No, it was optional.
Right,
but then it was a Wednesday or Thursday, but after school, you'd have to
you go
do your drills.
It
was it was a bit sad.
Bit Magoo.
Yeah, but because we had a shooting range...
It's worth it, innit?
And when you're a 13-year-old and it's like...
Was it like live ammo or was it like pellets?
They were like little...
Tiny, like it was
little
like a
bullets.
2-2. Oh, like little bullets, right?
They were like little bullets,
You
yeah.
do some damage when you shoot your mate, like.
Oh, it would go through you.
Yeah.
And so you're 13 and you're like, oh, you can sign up to CCF and you kind of...
I don't want to polish my shoes loads, but I want to fire a gun.
Man, they used to go mad. People would have... I think I did it for like 2 weeks.
That'd do my head in, that.
And it was only as soon as I'd
fired the gun,
was allowed in to fire a gun, I'm like, oh, cool. Right, yeah, I'm done now.
Yeah, that's me out.
But yeah,
I don't want to go crawling.
They used to go where, like, I think if you're in the RAF, like they'd fly like gliders and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Navy people just got bullied. In
the Navy.
Yeah. As you can imagine at school.
Yeah, brutal. I know exactly which slurs you mean there.
Yeah. And then the Army, they would go away and they did, I think they used to use like all different guns, but it'd be like firing blanks, and which would then go on to in other ways further in life. And then, at our school, we did that.
So,
because I remember you used to kind of like put the bullet in, kind of
the side loading.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah. So we had none of that.
I don't think any of the schools really had that.
But going back to something we discussed earlier.
By the way, I didn't go to like a posh school. We were actually very terrible.
Definitely did. We had, we talk about bullshitting teachers. We had Mr. Tyson, and this links in nicely, right? So Mr. Tyson was like a bit of a hippie. He had a kind of special brew as part of the engine on his motorbike that he rode to work.
I thought you were going to say like on his desk.
No, well, he used to stink of weed. And I hope I haven't mentioned this on a podcast before. I don't think I have. He used to, he was the worst bullshitter.
Right.
And everybody, because my brother's 5 school years younger than me.
Yeah.
So when I was in first year of sixth form, he was in first year of high school, sort of thing. So he's like a full generation behind me. And he's got all these stories about Mr. Tyson. You speak to anybody who went to that school, Mr. Tyson ever tell you any stories? Oh, yeah, about the time and it would be, right, so these are genuine things he told us he did. Or so the reason I'm mentioning this one first because it links in with you. His friend was in the army and shot Saddam Hussein in the knee. So there's one. Remember the... I mean, I don't even need to go into why that's bullshit, okay? So
the fact that you never seen him limping around.
No, he's very famously not been shot in the knee by the British Army because, we'd probably have known about that earlier.
Yeah.
So that's probably the most believable
Right.
Okay, so the other one, do you remember? I can't remember the name of it, but when that oil rig caught fire. In
The BP one?
In the 90s.
Oh,
not the one.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
no, yeah,
not the one like now where the sea's on fire. I've seen that, the sea on fire.
Yeah. So
in Mexico.
Like, biblical.
Like I
Isn't
can't.
that where the BP one was like about 10, 15 years ago?
Yeah, where that leaked everywhere.
Yeah.
And didn't
it was
like
about 10 years ago.
Richard Gere try and save it or something? Was it Richard Gere? I'm sure he had something to do with trying to save it.
Did Richard Gere stick a gerbil up his ass?
Apparently so. I heard that in school, so it must be true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the sea's on fire. So the water is on fire and they're putting it out with water. I know I'm not a scientist and I'm not super clever, but I'm not thick. I just don't understand. Like, I get that it's the gas that's on fire or the oil. Gas and oil is on fire.
They need to put a fireproof blanket over the top of it.
Yeah, because what else? Putting water on it's not working because it's the sea. Like, there's water everywhere. If the water, like the Gulf of Mexico isn't putting it out, spraying a hose on it isn't going to put it. I don't understand that. Anyway, so which one was I on about? The oil. Yeah, there was an oil rig disaster, and he said that he worked for a rival oil firm, and they wanted him to hack into that oil firm to cause the fire over computer. Pretty sure fires aren't caused by hacking.
No.
But that was one of them. Then it just gets better. So I'll go in order of ridiculousness. So he had a friend who worked in, is it meteorological? Is that like weather stuff?
Yeah.
It's like a professor of meteorology or whatever it is in America, who tipped him off that there was going to be an earthquake in San Francisco. So he flew to San Francisco, and I think it was the baseball ground cracked.
Right.
And it cracked like a couple of feet, like all the way through the stand and everything. And he had 1 foot either side of the crack when it cracked.
Did the strength of his legs just like bring the plates together?
Yeah, this is because he was talking. Obviously, he's a geography teacher, so he's talking about tectonic plates. And and then he's like, "Oh, as it goes, I've got a friend who works in America who works in the weather station, and I think he believes
there was an earthquake in San Francisco, and his wife died in it. So what he did was he flew up and went round the world to reverse time, and his wife's still living.
Yeah, hard to believe, isn't it? So yeah, so his leg was either side of the San Francisco thing.
He's not though. Unfortunately,
he's not though, is he? Now, didn't fly fast enough. Put me off there. He also said that his friend built a canoe out of Kevlar. I'm not even sure, is Kevlar even real? It is, isn't it? Yeah, Kevlar. No, it's adamantium, which is the one that Wolverine's blades are made of. Is that adamantium?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Kevlar, he built a Kevlar canoe. Where do you think he canoed? It's a geography teacher.
So, you'd want a Kevlar one because it's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah.
Some sort of rapids. No.
Not even water.
Did he canoe up Mount Everest?
Nope. He canoed down something. What flows down that isn't water? Geography teacher.
I don't know, like
a volcano. His mate built a Kevlar canoe and canoed down a volcano.
I'm assuming
like
his paddle was also made of Kevlar.
Yeah, paddle was made of Kevlar because apparently that's fine.
So what happens when he tips in? You just like rotate back around?
You have to spin dead. Yeah. He had the Kevlar wetsuit on or whatever, I think. And then his final and the best, and this is the best, was that when he was in the army, where his mate shot Saddam Hussein, him and his mate flew a Harrier jump jet through a McDonald's drive-through.
Oh.
And unlike him, I'm not lying. That's what he said. And when you point out to him, like, well,
you can barely fit a car.
You can barely fit like a people carrier through there. And also, the wings are massive. You're not going to...
How long your arm's going to have to
how'd
be?
you pay?
Mr. Tickles just...
How'd you pay? It's hard enough to pay in your car if you're not right next to it. Do you know, like leaning out the window in that when you get it wrong? Yeah. But he's telling kids this. And then, I didn't believe him because, you know, I've got a brain.
Yeah.
But like, we had mixed ability classes.
Right.
And some people believed him.
And that's just going to encourage these stories more.
Yeah.
So, isn't it?
It's one of those that I think, when I was younger, I thought, oh, bullshitting prick. But now I'm kind of like, probably just did it for a laugh. Just said these random mental stories.
Just to see
who believes what. And
is stupid enough to...
And then he's probably talking to his mates going, oh, I told him I'd flew a jump jet. Which, if he did that, then kudos. But because he was that much of a weirdo, I think he actually believed a lot of what he said. Because he said it with complete conviction, and he wasn't a drama teacher. He couldn't act. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, should we finish with that? Should we finish with you?
I was just starting to choke then.
Yeah, should we finish with you choking and Mr. Tyson flying a Harrier jump jet through?
Yeah, let us know if there's any, like, what's the most kind of mental...
What's the funniest lie you've ever been told? Because people get told lies daily basis.
Yeah.
But some are just ridiculous, but then some are funny.
Yeah.
What's the funniest lie you've ever been told?
Leave that in the comment section, because we might even, if anyone leaves a comment, we can speak about it on a future. Yeah,
let us know. Message us, drop us an email. We've got an email address. If we've got an email address, drop us a DM, drop it in the comments. Text me. If you listen to this, you probably actually know me, because no one else is going to listen this far in, are they? But and let's talk about Mr. Tyson some more.
Yeah. My stomach's rumbling.
I can hear that.
Yeah, no, I was genuinely like, is this going to pick up on the microphone? So when we probably do this again, I think for about half an hour, you're just going to hear my stomach rumbling. Yeah. So I best, and I need another wee. I think that's basically my sign off. Need the toilet.
Need a wee.
Yeah. So
cool.
See ya. The hat to you. And
I forgot. I've been looking at you all the time and not.
Au revoir.